Good morning, students. We've rescheduled our lesson from Thursday to this moment. There's a reason. Thank you for accepting to be there. We had started on climate, and before I take you back to the climatic regions of Kenya, we need to have how to describe the terms to describe climate. Like here we have for rainfall. How do we describe if we've forgotten the figures, the amounts? What do we say? We are supposed to have it for very high rainfall, over 1,500 millimeters per year or per annum. We talk of very high. You will get it when you talk of very high, and you mean from beyond 1,500, you'll get the point. But if you talk of very high, then you have just the 1,000 millimeters per annum, you'll not score, because 1,000 is not very high, but it is high. So our second one is where is high rainfall, used to describe rainfall of over 1,000 to 1,499 millimeters. That one is high rainfall. Then moderate rainfall used to describe rainfall of between 500 millimeters to 999 millimeters. That one you'll qualify. Even if you've forgotten the figures, you'll just go for moderate rainfall, then you will get it. When we talk of low rainfall, what do we mean? Low rainfall is used to describe rainfall of 250 millimeters to 499 millimeters per annum. That is low rainfall per the standard. So if you've forgotten the figures and you write low rainfall and the figures are within 250 to 499 millimeters, you'll still score. Very low rainfall used to describe rainfall of less than 250 millimeters per year. Very low. Like all of us, we know, in desert places, we have very low, 120, 200, very low rainfall. So let's get used to these descriptive terms on climate. Very, very important. Whether climate 1 or climate 2, they are very, very important. And before I leave this, in our book, in our notes, sometimes we may be having heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall is not accepted. It is an error in those books. Heavy rainfall on climate, heavy rainfall on vegetation is not allowed. It's supposed to be high or very high. According to the figures that we have, you'll know when it is high or when it is very high. So delete heavy rainfall from your brains totally. It can only be heavy on the ground, causing erosion. Heavy rainfall, Baringo area, causing erosion. It can again be heavy rainfall on you, perhaps during field work, and it is a problem. Heavy rainfall that made you to stop the research or the field study. So get that right. We are on temperature. How to describe temperature without the figures, these ranges. If you cannot have vividly what it is, please go for the wordings. the descriptive words. Very high temperature, which is equal to very hot conditions, is beyond 30 degrees Celsius. Beyond 30 degrees Celsius, we will be going for very, very high temperatures. But you cannot talk of very high, it's very high temperatures, not very high. The climate is hot, but temperature is high. Have that in line. Otherwise, if you talk of hot temperature, you will not get anything. Temperature can only be high, moderate, or low. But climate can be hot, warm, cool, cold, or very cold. So it is also a problem in some of our books. So get that right from now onwards. Then when we talk of high temperatures or hot conditions, we are in between 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. That is high or hot conditions, 20 degrees to 30 degrees Celsius. When you talk of moderate temperatures or warm conditions, it is between 10 degrees to 19 degrees Celsius. That is moderate temperature. Low temperature or cool conditions is 1 to 9 degrees Celsius. Very low temperatures or cold conditions, that one is below negative 10 to 0 degrees Celsius. Then very severe or extremely low is less than negative 10 degrees Celsius. So these are descriptive terms on climate and very key for you, because many times human beings, we tend to forget the ranges. If you don't go right where the ranges are quoted, then everything becomes wrong. And don't mix the two. Don't go for high temperature, then you give us a different figure which is not falling within the high temperature. So it's even better you go for the descriptive term alone minus the figures. You'll get it. So take great care. They are in your book too, and in your notes, those descriptive terms. So take great care. Hello, mwalimu. Nimeingia? I'm okay. Wangapi? I have 32 so far. Just concern from Mr. Boge whether we are learning or not. We will continue. Now we can tell so well how to describe climate using the terms, not the figures. But if we have the two in our mind properly, then no fear, just go for the two. We had not completed the climatic regions of Kenya. I remember we only tackled the Kenya Highlands with its characteristics. We had not gone to the others. So there we go. There we go, there we go. We are reminding ourselves of these areas. It's a very common map. We start from the known to unknown. Kenya is our country, we know it, although we've not traveled all over, but we can tell so well what happens in our country. Then from here now, after knowing this, we'll go to the entire world, the climatic regions of the world. So here we go. We had only tackled the first one, which is modified climate of the highlands. That's what we went through. And there are things that we just need to have at our fingertips. I know the characteristics are very many, very, very many, but we may not be able to get all of them, but there are things that will give us a clue. Like when we talk of Kenya Highlands, we know that is relief, the altitude. Therefore, we must go for relief rainfall in this area. That one is automatic. Then we are in Kenya. Kenya, mainly where we have the highlands, the temperatures are high generally. So there are things that we will be able to get easily. Those ones, let's not miss them, but there are those ones that we must force ourselves to get, like the months that what happens and all that. Then there we go for our Kenya Highlands, rainfall throughout the year. And I told you climate has changed. So as much as we talk of rainfall throughout the year, it is not what we have today. But because we want to pass exams, we'll deal with the figures, the data that was there then, until they give us a different data after 30 or 35 years of study of the current weather situations. High rainfall, 100 to 1500 millimeters annually. Double rainfall, we talked about that. We have March to May for long rains, then and short rains between September and December. Some books give us up to November, which is okay. Then we are talking of the Western Highland, Kericho in particular, has only one rainfall regime from April to August. All that period, Kericho receives rainfall. It even receives rainfall even today, differently from the Eastern Highlands. Then we talked about mainly receives relief rainfall, high up to 2,000 millimeters on the windward sides, but obviously on the leeward sides of the mountains, it is lower or little or no rainfall. Then rainfall mainly caused by southeast trade winds. Southeast trade winds are moist. We know that. Has warm to hot conditions. We have there 17 to 24 degrees Celsius, cool conditions on high mountains. The relief itself will give us cool conditions. Lower slopes are warmer than higher slopes. Obviously, the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Temperature is modified by altitude. The higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Has moderate humidity levels. Coolest months are July and August, while the rest of the year is warm. We know that, especially those people who live within the Eastern and Western Highlands in our country. Then we go for the days are warm while nights are cool or chilly. Ukweli wa mambo ni hayo. Days are quite okay. Nights are cool. We are on the Kenya Highlands and or chilly. Mean annual temperature range is small. Mean annual temperature range, that is the temperature, the lowest and the highest. When you subtract, you'll get between 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. That is small. We go to the next one, the next region. We come from all over Kenya. There are those who come from the lake region. Others are from the coastal region. Others are from the interior, the northern Kenya, the southern Kenya, the northwestern part of Kenya. So we are on this water-bodied areas, the M and N, modified equatorial climate of the lake basin and the coastal plains. Most of their characteristics are similar. That is why I've combined the two. Otherwise, if given just Lake Victoria alone, please handle it on its own. If given coastal region alone, you handle it the way you'll be seeing. Then something that we must put in our minds as we go for climatic regions, please ensure that we know the location. Our questions many times would ask us to name the areas marked K, P, X, those climatic regions. So without the knowledge of this, you'll not get anything. Because if you miss the region, you'll not get the characteristics, even if they are correct. Even if you guessed and they are correct, you'll not. Once you miss the area, you'll not get the characteristics. So take care on the location. We studied from our atlases, from the maps that we have on the climatic regions. Please be interested and study them. So the characteristics include: one, have rainfall throughout the year with no real dry season. No dry month. That is what used to be. Have rainfall throughout the year. No real dry month. Two, have high to moderate rainfall. High to moderate. Remember, I've just told you about the descriptive words. So 750 is falling under moderate. 1,600 is under high. If my answer would have just been high rainfall, then I go for this figure, 750 to 1,600 millimeters, I will not get anything. But if I remember the figures and I don't put them, but I use the term high to moderate, that one you are well to go. You'll get your mark. 3, receives convectional rainfall which mainly falls in the afternoon, and it's accompanied by lightning and thunderstorms. Quite okay because of the convectional currents in the afternoon, maximum heating during the afternoon. Therefore, we'll be having convectional rainfall in these regions. The next one, there is thick cloud cover. Thick cloud cover. Thick cloud cover is will give us at least rainfall. When the cloud cover, the sky is clear, then there's no rainfall. So we go for thick cloud cover there. Have high relative humidity because of the convectional currents, high temperatures. We'll be having the so-called high relative humidity in the region. Evaporation rates from the ocean, from the lake, will give us a lot of moisture in the atmosphere that qualifies for high relative humidity. Have high mean temperature between 20 to 32 degrees Celsius. Our lake region, we are in Kenya, not far from the equator. This is what we have, high temperatures, averaging between 20 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius. Have a small annual temperature range of 2 to 4 degrees. When you go for the highest, maybe in January or whichever month, and lowest, you'll have a difference of between 2 and 4 degrees, and that gives us just a small annual temperature range in our modified equatorial climate of the lake basin and the coastal plain. Then have a small due north temperature range due to modification by the lake and the sea, by the water, the sea breezes will give us modification of the climate. Therefore, it is small diurnal temperature. Small diurnal temperature range. That is daily. The highest, the lowest in a day, that is 24 hours, then you will go for the word small. They have low atmospheric pressure. Temperature is very high in this region. Obviously, we'll be having the doldrum, calm air. That will give us low atmospheric pressure. Has a double rainfall maxima with highest rainfall in March to May and lowest in January to February. These are the characteristics of our equatorial climate of the lake basin and the coastal plain because of the ocean. Moving to the next one. But even before we go to the tropical continental, the savanna or semi-desert climate, I would like us to have something in our minds as geographers. When a question is asking you to account for the climatic characteristics of a given region, like equatorial region, that is not on the screen. Account for the climatic regions of the equatorial climatic in Kenya or in the world. When we are accounting for, we are supposed to give results. It is a rare question, but it comes once in a while. So we must know exactly what we are doing. When we talk of high humidity, what is making humidity in the region to be high? It is because of high temperatures that causes high evaporation rate, and that would give us high humidity. When we talk of high temperatures in the equatorial region, what makes it to be high? Remember, our equator is around 0 degrees towards 23.5 or even to 30 where we have the tropical areas. But what is making it to be high temperatures? It is because we have overhead sun almost throughout the year. So it makes it to have high temperatures throughout the year. When we talk of high rainfall in the equatorial region, why high rainfall? It is because one of the overhead migration of the sun north and south of the equator twice a year. It is because of high humidity. It is because of thick cloud cover. So we must have the reasons why we are giving those answers. And that is only when you are asked to account for or give results. If you are just asked to state the characteristics, you don't need to go to that length. Don't need to go to that extent. So our next one is tropical, continental, or savanna, or semi-desert climate. That is after highland, after the lake or coastal region. We are on this tropical, continental. Continental is the interior, away from the water body, away from our ocean, away from the lake, the interior part, continental. Therefore, these are what we have. Low and unreliable rainfall of about 500 millimeters annually. When we were going for our descriptive words, 500 was under low. So it is low and it is unreliable. It is not, you cannot say it will rain in this month. No, it is unreliable and it is low. High temperatures with average of 22 to 27 degrees throughout the year. Yes, we are still About the equatorial region, of course, Kenya is not far from the equator, the entire country. So we have high temperatures, has a small diurnal and annual temperature ranges of about 5 degrees Celsius. Both diurnal and annual are small because the area, the interior part, the behavior is the same throughout the year. Behavior on temperatures is the same. Low humidity levels, it is within the interior. No, where we don't have even the relief features, we will not have the modification. Where we don't have the water bodies, we will not have the modification. So it is low humidity received in such regions. Low cloud cover or clear skies. Here, cloud cover is not thick. It is very clear. No rainfall. If there'll be very little, temperatures are slightly lower in some relief areas, like we have slightly lower in some relief regions, like we have Voi is 25 degrees, while Garissa is 28.5 degrees Celsius. Slightly lower where we have relief features, and we have examples of Voi and Garissa where we have some hills. That is what we have for our tropical continental. So very fast you will know that humidity is low. That is a fact. Then clear skies. Those ones you cannot miss them. Temperatures are high because of where it is placed. Then obviously rainfall is unreliable and it is low, about 500 millimeters. We go to the next one. The next one is desert climate of northern Kenya. Desert climate of northern Kenya. In our map, you saw the area just in the northern, the way we are mentioning or seeing characteristics. Very low rainfall below 259 millimeters annually. Low humidity and cloudless skies. Remember, this one is a desert now, desert. High annual temperature with average of 30 degrees, with March being the hottest month. Minimum temperature is about 20 degrees Celsius. That is desert. Has high degrees and low night temperatures averaging to 20. That one will give us the next point, the range, the diurnal range or daily range of temperature is 15. That one is moderate. It is moderate. That is very, very large, I would say so. 35 in the day, but 20 in the night. It falls to 20 in the night. The next one, experiences dry northeast trade winds. We had mentioned southeast coming from some water body. So southeast are usually moist, but the northeast are dry winds. So experiences dry northeast trade winds. Mount Marsabit modifies the climate of the eastern slopes, causing lower temperatures and higher rainfall. So we'll be having relief rainfall because of Mount Marsabit that modifies the conditions, the climatic conditions, both temperature and rainfall. It makes rainfall to be slightly higher and it lowers the temperatures because we know the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. There are true deserts like we have Chalbi, Karoli, and Kaisut. Those are true deserts in the northern part of Kenya, true deserts. Then sandstorms are commonly are very common in this region. The place is open. Trees are very few. So there's nothing that holds to this. The sand is not, the plants are not held. The sand is there. Therefore, sandstorms are very common in this region. The next one is P. We are from the northern part, the desert. Now we are on the tropical northern climate of northwestern Kenya. Northwestern Kenya. That one was northern. Now we are on northwestern Kenya. In your mind, you can figure out where we have Mount Elgon, that strip, the border of Uganda. That is the northwestern Kenya. So the characteristics of the climate in this region include the following. Receives moderate rainfall of about 855 millimeters annually, and it falls between June and September. High temperatures throughout the year, averaging 22 to 35 degrees Celsius. Temperature is modified by high altitude in some places like Karasuk Hills. Karasuk Hills around Mount Elgon there will be finding the temperatures modified by the altitude. Then lastly, has a dry season of about 6 good months. The place is dry. Those are the characteristics of our tropical northern climate of Western Kenya. Our last one, now we move to the southern parts, tropical climate of the southern Kenya. In our minds, we can easily think of the boundary of now Tanzania and the Indian Ocean. Those are the southern parts. We have Kwale, we have Taita Taveta, we have Narok. Those are the areas for the southern climate of Kenya. And these are the characteristics: moderate to high annual rainfall of 750 to 1,000 millimeters annually. That is moderate to high. We had mentioned that. High temperatures with average of 25 degrees to 35 degrees. Higher temperatures in semi-deserts. Semi-deserts have higher than what we've quoted there. Then has high rainfall season between October and April. The southern part of Kenya has high rainfall season between October and April. High humidity and high cloud cover during the rainy season. That is what we have for the southern climate of Kenya, Narok, Kwale, Taita Taveta. Then we go for more characteristics. No, the rest we had gone through. So quickly we take our minds to the climate of the world climatic regions. World climatic regions. Nobody will ask you to draw and label these climatic regions, but obviously many of our questions will ask you to locate. You'll be given an area marked and you are asked to label or to name the area marked Q, Y, Z, all those. Now we are seeing the world map in front of us. All the continents are here. And we have the climatic regions. Before we set for their characteristics, there's one thing that we need to know, that those people who are classifying the climate or giving us the distinct climatic regions used two main parameters, that is temperature and rainfall. And for the major climatic regions that we are seeing here, we have the hot climates, we have the warm climates, we have the cool climates, we have the cold climates, and we have the very cold climates. This is under the basis of temperature. They used temperature to classify. Then they used the rainfall levels or amounts to classify the subdivisions of these 5 climatic regions. Like our hot climates, for example, we have equatorial, we have modified equatorial, we have equatorial monsoon, we have tropical monsoon, we have tropical maritime, we have tropical desert climates, and we have tropical continental. So all these subdivisions are due to rainfall amounts, but the main hot climate is due to temperature. So very fast, we can peruse through. We see where we have the hot climates. Just about 2 minutes, kila mtu angalie the regions of the hot climates. The key thing is to have the location of these climates. Very, very important. We may know the individual countries, but the location where they are shaded, very, very key. We need to have that in mind. And many times we try our level best to have at least more than 5 characteristics on the larger regions. Like Equator has several characteristics, but when we go to tundra, there could be about 3. So those 3 we can never forget. We may not know everything, but we try our level best. Okay, temperatures and rainfall are the main determinant elements of climate. On the basis of temperature, 5 climatic types can be identified. The ones that we've mentioned there: hot climates, warm climates, cool climates, cold climates, and very cold climates. Each of them can be further subdivided into the basis of rainfall, especially according to the seasonal variations of rainfall. The divisions depend on the position or location of the region in the continent. Within our continent, we have the western margin, we have the eastern margin, and we have the interior, the continent. So these are the main divisions on our subdivided areas under the ones on temperature division. So we'll move along. We'll move along now on our hot climates. Hot climates, now these are only for the hot climates. For easier tracing of the regions, we have stations here with their numbers. We have the key for this, so we can see all of them. When we talk of equatorial, the symbol, the shading can take us to where we have the 0 degrees to almost 23 degrees. That is the equator. We can see the equatorial climate there. Equatorial monsoon. I told you there are things that will give us a clue. Like when we talk of monsoon, we know monsoon are winds. These winds can be onshore or offshore. So that is a clue on the tropical monsoon. Tropical marine or tropical maritime. Marine or maritime, we are seeing the water body, the large water body, sea or ocean. Therefore, at least we have one characteristic already. Convection or rainfall, obviously there. High humidity, another one. There are things that will give you clear information on these areas. Tropical, continental, ndani. We have the interior, we have the so-called continental region that is far away from the marine region. So obviously when we talk of continental, we can see some dryness. That is another factor there. Clear skies. Then tropical, desert. For desert, we can never go wrong. Desert, hot desert, nights are very cold, days are very hot. That is a clear indication of how we can tackle characteristics of these regions. Let me get your views whether we are moving on well or there's a question. So first, Jaona, any hand raised? Seven. Njoroge. Seven. Edwin. George Ngugi. George Ngugi. George. George. George, yani unisikii?
Pardon the question.
Kamau,
Pardon.
unanisikia?
Yes.
Any
Yes.
question? So far, is it okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Iko
Yes.
sawa?
Yes.
Yes.
Sawa sawa, basi tuendelee. Tuendelee basi. Please feel free to raise your hand if you have a problem. Okay. We were on the hot climates, the regions. We can see the map, individual map for just the hot climates. The other one was combining all the 5 classifications up to very cold. Now with moving on with our equatorial equatorial climate found in the following areas. There are many. Just find a few that you can cling to, although at times the question may ask you outside Africa. So you need to have a clue in most of these regions. Amazon Basin in Brazil, Ecuador in Central America, Colombia, Congo Basin in Central Africa, west coast of Africa from Guinea through Cote d'Ivoire, Southeast Asia, southwestern and central Ghana, southern Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, and finally Congo. These regions were shaded on our map, the world map. All these were shaded. So I would like us to ensure that we know the areas where equatorial climate are found. A few of these regions named and the entire area shaded for equatorial climate. We go for the characteristics of equatorial climate, and we'll start with temperature. This is equator. So high temperatures throughout the year with an average of 24 to 28 degrees Celsius. That's high. Due to overhead sun and direct heating is a doldrum region, you know, the equatorial area, calm air, doldrum region. Average temperature is about 26 degrees Celsius. So our main information here, high temperatures throughout the year. That one you'll score minus even the figures you'll be able to score. But if you are remembering the figures is okay, you'll go for the average 26, about 26 you'll score because the range is from 24 to 28. Low annual temperature range of 3 to 5 degrees due to constant high temperatures throughout the year. The differences are very small. So we have low annual temperature range. This region is within the equator. So high temperatures throughout. That is why the variation is very small. Small to moderate due to temperature range of about 6 to 8. 6 is still under small, but 8 has started the moderate. So there's no way we can go for moderate alone. There's no way we can go for small alone. They must tally. Therefore, we need to have the descriptive tab in our minds completely. And reason why there is small to moderate due to temperature range is because one, constant length of day and night all the year through. We don't have the solstices here. It is equinox throughout, all the year through. The length of day and night are the same. Then two, heavy cloud cover, giving us high humidity that traps terrestrial radiation, keeping temperatures relatively constant between day and night. Under rainfall, we have one, high rainfall between 1500 to 2250 millimeters throughout the year due to low pressure zone, ITCZ, where the south, east, and northeast trade winds meet, causing continuous convectional currents. Where they meet, we have convectional currents. So we have high annual rainfall. And when we talk of convectional currents, one point that comes to your mind is number 3, experiences high convectional rainfall with lightning and thunderstorm due to convergence of the moist winds. Of course, eastern and the northeastern trade winds meet at that region. double rainfall maxima as the sun is overhead in the area twice a year. We know of the migration or the shifting of the overhead sun north and south of the equator. Number 4, high humidity levels due to moist winds, high temperatures, and high evaporation rate. Obviously, high rainfall is due to high temperatures, high evaporation rate, and we have the moist winds giving us the high humidity. Rainfall comes in the afternoon due to maximum heating of air at this time. In the afternoon, between 1 there, 2 to 3, the heating is to the maximum. So we'll be having afternoon rainfall because of that heating. Heating, evaporation, condensation, clouds form, and of course, it rains. Then, relatively low atmospheric pressure due to high temperatures. Where we have high temperatures, obviously, we will be having low atmospheric pressure. And that is the case in our equatorial region, equatorial climate. The next one, high orographic rainfall in the highlands, like Rwenzori Mountains, on Mount Cameroon. It reaches that high, 10,000, is not a mistake, 10,000 millimeters. And they say this is one of the wettest places in the world, Mount Cameroon, 10,000. We've been hearing of up to 3,000. Now, this is an extreme case, one of the wettest places in the world. These highlands modify climate because of some of their altitude. The higher you go, the cooler it becomes. Other characteristics would include trade winds converge at this region, is the equator, the southeast, northeast trade winds are converging at this region. Then we have plenty of sunshine is received in this area. It is an equatorial region around 0 degrees. What do we expect? Plenty of sunshine is received in that area. Remember, I told you earlier on that for us to go for the many characteristics, we'll just be mentioning things to do on temperature, temperature range, annual range, diurnal range, the amount, average. We'll be talking about rainfall, we'll be talking about wind, air pressure, and humidity, things that are known to us already. So the element of mentioning that climate is a very difficult topic should never arise again. We go to the next one under hot, equatorial monsoon. When we hear this monsoon, the winds driven by the current are here, monsoon. So it is experienced in southeast Nigeria and extends to western Cameroon, Southeast Asia, in the Malaysian and Indonesian islands of Sumatra, Malay Peninsula. Peninsula is like a promontory or headland. I know most of us, we get the headland very rightly. The other time we were dealing with seas and oceans and their coasts, and we know what a headland is. So peninsula is one that is a land that is almost surrounded by water. That is why we are talking of Malay Peninsula, land that is almost surrounded by water. Then another area where monsoon, equatorial monsoon is found is Java, Borneo, Sulawesi, Mindanao, New Guinea, and the small islands in the region. There are smaller islands in the region. Those are the areas, and the areas are shaded in our world map. So there are characteristics of equatorial monsoon. Temperature is high throughout the year. Remember, we are on equator, equatorial. It is monsoon, but within the equatorial region. Therefore, temperatures are high throughout the year. Temperature about 26 degrees Celsius. Annual temperature range is small, about 3 to 5 degrees, because that modification with the ocean. So it is small. When we talk of high, measure on the continental. High temperatures in the day, low in the night. That gives us a wider range or a large range. But where we have water body, here we'll be talking of small annual range of temperature, and even small range of temperature. Temperature range rarely exceeds 6 degrees, so it is still small. Relative humidity is high throughout the year. Relative humidity high throughout the year. Then we go for rainfall. High rainfall throughout the year, averaging to about 1,800 millimeters. That is high. So long as it's beyond 1,000, it is high. It is high. Then monsoon winds influence convectional currents. That monsoon winds are from the ocean. They are driven by the currents, so they influence convectional rainfall. Calabar is a place on the coastal plains of southeast Nigeria, has a mean annual temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and rainfall of 3,033 millimeters annually due to trade winds being onshore throughout the year, as intertropical convergence zone lies over its interior. Equatorial monsoon, yes, the characteristics we've been given, but we've been given a particular place, Calabar, in southeast Nigeria, where the temperatures are 26 and rainfall is quite high, and they are giving us an indication is because of the trade winds being there. Trade winds blowing in the region. Then we have Bameda, Adamawa Highlands experiencing high relief rainfall, where we have the highlands. Even if you've forgotten the names that you talk of, you remember there are highlands. Please indicate where there are highlands with the rainfall received is relief or orographic, and you'll still get it. We don't expect you to have all these places in mind. So our next one is tropical monsoon. Remember, we started with the equatorial climate, equatorial monsoon. Now we are on tropical. We are away from the equator. Tropical monsoon. Areas where this is found: southern China, northern Australia, Indian subcontinent, coast of West Africa, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea itself, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and Liberia on small scale. Southeast Asia, Burma, Thailand, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Malaysia, and Sumatra. These are the places where tropical monsoon climate is found. And these are the areas that were shaded Many of our questions or even the next questions will ask you to name the region, the shaded region, and it will be tropical monsoon. But it is good to have a clue of these areas. So characteristics, experience seasonal reversal of winds. Remember, it is monsoon, reversal of winds, January, July, how is the movement of these winds? Then they blow onshore in one season and offshore in another. In India, where this climate is predominant, there are 3 distinct seasons. This is a key point where this climate is real predominant. There are 3 distinct seasons, like we have cool and almost dry season. Cool and almost dry. It is cool, but almost dry. And that one is between November and February, when the prevailing northward winds are dry. Prevailing northeast winds are dry. That is cool and almost dry. The second area or distinct season here, hot and dry. Cool, dry, hot, dry. Hot, dry is between March and May. High temperatures since the sun is almost overhead. The third distinct season in this region, hot and wet season. Between June and October, winds are onshore. That is southeast monsoons resulting into high rains, cloudy skies, and high humidity. That is what is going to give us the hot and wet season. The temperatures are lowered by heavy rains to about 31 degrees. Generally, the temperatures go up to 32, but because of rains in the region, high rains, they are lowered slightly to 31 degrees Celsius. High annual mean temperature of about 28 degrees. Temperature varies from 25, that we call cool season, to 32, the one that is called hot season. The fourth one, small annual temperature range of about 7 degrees. That is the last figure for small 7. So small annual temperature range of about 7. That is tropical monsoon. Other characteristics on the same, high rainfall in the hot season and dry during the cool season. The place during hot season has high rainfall, but during the cool season, it is dry. Has moderate to high rainfall, 620 to 1300 millimeters annually. That is moderate. That is moderate to high. 620 is on moderate, high is the 1300 there. High rainfall when the winds are onshore, that is rather obvious because the winds are from the water body, they are moist onshore. Winds are moist, therefore high rainfall. Rainfall amount vary depending on relief and aspect. Slopes of Assam is in India, is about 1250 millimeters. Rainfall depends on relief and aspects. When we talk of aspects, we know what happens on the leeward side. Windward would receive high rainfall, but the windward side would receive little or no rainfall. We have been given an example again of Delhi, where it is about 620 millimeters. Delhi should be on the wind, depending on the rim and aspect. Yes, Delhi is on the windward, the leeward side. Therefore, it is slightly lower than what we have on the windward side of Assam. Tropical continental, now we go deep into the interior. Tropical continental. It's good to have some of these other references, how they are called. Savanna is also called Sudan type climate. And the continentals usually form the largest regions. Even for the world map, in Africa, it forms the largest area, the largest climatic area in Africa, the continental climate, the savanna or Sudan type. If they are found in these areas, the areas were shaded, they are still shaded, but we are just getting the names of the areas here now. East, West, Central, and Southern Africa, Western Madagascar, Australia, Central and Southern Mexico, South America, especially the Brazilian plateau. That is where we are finding the tropical continental climate. The characteristics include high temperatures throughout the year of up to 32. That's high. That is hot. And 21 degrees in the coolest month. Hot season, it goes up to 32 degrees Celsius, but the coolest month it is dropping up to 21 degrees. High convectional rainfall during the hot season. Cool season is usually dry. Annual range of temperature is 11, that is moderate. Temperature is highest when the intertropical convergence zone is lying over the region. You know what that means? When ITCZ is lying over the region, then temperatures are very high. Rainfall increases in areas near the equator. And decreases towards the deserts. Increases towards the interior, towards the deserts. Rainfall is moderate to high, 750 to 1,000 millimeters per annum. That is moderate to high. The next area, tropical marine climate. Tropical marine climate found in coast of East Africa. We'll be talking about Kenya and Tanzania. Uganda is inland. So Kenya and Tanzania. East, Central, and Southern America. Eastern coast of Madagascar. Your mind should be taking you to the regions as we read them, where they are lying on the world map. So the characteristics of tropical marine climate. has two distinct seasons, rainy hot season with 29 degrees Celsius and a cool one. Two distinct seasons, we have rainy, hot, and a cool one. Cool one is cool dry season is 21 degrees. High temperatures throughout the year averaging 25 degrees. Maximum temperatures is experienced in the hot season. Tropical marine, yes, within the tropical, we have high temperatures. Moderate annual temperature range of about 8. Moderate. High rainfall between 1,000 to 2,000 millimeters throughout the year, maximum in the hot season. Hot season is where we have a lot of evaporation taking place, so that is when rainfall is high. High humidity due to coastal location and high temperatures in the area. Reason for high humidity is well placed there. It is within the coastal influence from the water body, as well as high temperatures giving us high humidity. Onshore winds blow throughout the year. Onshore winds blow throughout the year. It's maritime, so we get the winds blowing throughout the year. The last one, the regions experience tropical cyclones. The typhoons, they call it in Asia, Willy Willies in Australia, hurricane in Caribbean islands, but the general term, they are tropical cyclones. And remember, the depressions, will be coming to them later. So tropical cyclones in the region. Tropical desert climate or hot deserts. The regions were shaded. They are now mentioned here. Sahara Desert, Kalahari, Namib, those ones in Africa, those ones we are okay with totally. Jordan, Iraq, Syria, Israel, we have Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, and Iran in the Middle East. Thar Desert in India, Atacama Desert, South America, Great Australian Desert within Australia, Mexican Desert, Mojave, Colorado Desert of North and Central America. Those are the regions experiencing tropical desert climate or hot climate. Yes, we are moving to the characteristics of the same characteristics. Very low annual rainfall, about 250 millimeters, rarely exceeds 120 millimeters per annum. Rainfall occurs in torrential storms, very large drops, torrential storms, large drops. That is what we refer to as torrent rainfall. So rainfall occurs in torrential storms after a long period of time, high daytime temperatures and very low night temperatures. It is a desert, so that is an obvious characteristic that should be at our fingertips always. Then a large annual temperature range of about 19 degrees, but it varies in some deserts. It can be 26 to 28 degrees Celsius. It varies, but it is large. Why is it large? Temperatures in the day are they shoot very high, while the night temperatures drop sharply. So the range, range of temperature, even the annual one, becomes large. High annual temperature during the hot season, 29 degrees Celsius, and low 10 degrees Celsius in the cold season. But it varies from one desert to another. E.g., 47 degrees at Tongot, that is northern Nigeria, and 58 degrees in Azizia, north of Tripoli in Libya. So it varies the way we've seen. It really varies because of the deserts. Tropical desert climate, we continue with the characteristics. Has very low humidity levels. It is interior, so low humidity, far from water body, low humidity. Experiences strong desert storms like typhoon and hurricane during the hot season. That one, very correct. Very large temperature range because of high temperatures during the day. During the day, very high. During the night, very low. Therefore, large temperature range. Unreliable and erratic rainfall falls for a short period of time. And it may fall in 1 year, then it takes several years. Like we have a case here where it was seen after 6 years. From 1933, then it falls again in 1939 at Tamarasat. Tamarasat is in Algeria. So they have the data with them, and it is said to be unreliable and erratic. Erratic because when it falls in torrents. Torrents, flash floods, and all that. So it's erratic and unreliable. Warm climates away from the so-called hot climates. This is the world map for warm climates, and we can see warm temperate western margin. This one, you will find these symbols in the western margin of the continent. Quickly trace where you are seeing the symbol of warm temperate western margin. On the west, I can see them very well. Warm temperate on the western margin, warm temperate on the western margin. Then we look for warm temperate continental. The symbol for warm temperate continental, I can see a shaded area in the South America, North America, Asia is a real continental one in Asia. Then warm temperate desert climates. Warm temperate desert climate. I can see it in Asia. Warm temperate desert. A large one in Asia. Then warm temperate eastern margin. We go now to the eastern parts of the continent. Eastern parts of the continent, and see the warm, like I can see one in Australia. Eastern parts now. Eastern part, South America, I can see it there. And again, the southern part of North America, I can see it there. So the locations are very, very important. We move on. We move on. Warm climates experience moderate temperature lower than those of the hot climates. It is moderate when we are comparing it with the hot climates. It borders tropical climate. The warm borders tropical climate. We have equator, then tropical, then the warm. Experience between latitude 30 and 40 degrees north and south of the equator. The regions latitudinally between 30 and 40 degrees north and south of the equator. They may extend up to 50 in the interior of the continent, but along the coastal region is 30 to 40 north and south of the equator, but may extend to 50 in the interior. They are as follow: warm temperate western margin, warm temperate continental or interior margin. Then we have warm temperate continental, not interior. Warm temperate continental, but not continental margin. No, margin is western and eastern, please. So we have warm temperate desert and warm temperate eastern margin. Warm temperate western margin. Warm temperate western margin to the west of the continent, also known as Mediterranean climate, occurs on the western side of the continent between latitude 30 to 45 degrees north. Get it right? It is not north and south now, but it is 30 to 45 degrees north and 30 to 40 degrees south. Found in the lands which border the Mediterranean Sea, Southern Europe, and Northern Africa. The southwest tip of Africa around Cape Town, central coast of California in Northern America, central Chile in South America, and the last bit is southwest Australia around Perth, and the southern part of around the Leyden. These are the regions experiencing warm temperate western margin climate. Now the characteristics include temperature range between 21 degrees in summer and 10 degrees or less in winter. That is for our warm temperate western margin. Moderate annual temperature range of about 11 degrees Celsius. Both hot and cold winds are common. Sirocco in Algeria, Hamsi, Egypt, Mistral in France, and Bora, Yugoslavia. These are common local winds, but they have different names in different countries. These winds are hot and dry. Annual rainfall is moderate, about 500 millimeters to 900 millimeters per annum, depending on the location and altitude. It varies depending on the location and altitude of the place. Summers have clear skies and low humidity. During summer, the winds blow offshore, meaning that summers are dry. When it is offshore, from the land, there are dry winds, no rain. During winter, winds blow onshore, bringing cyclonic rains. We talked of 45, 40, 45. So we have the depression, we have the tropical region, the influence. Therefore, we will be getting warm and cold, giving us cyclonic rainfall. The climate has distinct seasons, 4 of them, that is summer, winter, autumn, and spring. We will be ending there.
Yo.
Rogi,
Yes.
are we doing well?
Yes.
Tuko sawa kweli? On the
Tuko
right
sawa.
track? Tuko sawa?
Yes.
Christian, hamna shida? So we will move on next time. Please go through what we've covered. Ndio iwe ndani yako kabisa. Sawa?
Yes.
Yes. Sawa sawa. Situkutane next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Good.
Shirikiane baadaye.
Safe. Bye.
Awagwan.